As demand for COVID-19 testing continues to increase, one local company is stepping up to make sure everyone who needs a test gets one. I'm Chris Warner with that story.
President Biden is rolling out steps to help independent meat and poultry producers as higher food prices persist. I'm Mallory Rivera in Washington with the latest on the Biden administration's efforts to curb inflation at grocery stores coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jordan Aubie. Authorities filed charges in last month's Fort Scott, Kansas double murder case. A relative found 48-year-old Melissa Mitchell dead from a gunshot wound inside her Fort Scott home back on December 21st. They also found 53-year-old Leonard Zimmerman dead in the home. Police started searching then for Melissa Mitchell's son, Dawson Mitchell, as a person of interest in the case. They found and arrested him the next day on a number of charges, including possession of a firearm by a felon. Well, now authorities have filed additional charges, including 2 counts of premeditated first-degree murder. Meteorologist Nick Kelly joining us now. Cold today, chilly, but really no complaints still.
Yeah, and certainly no complaints given that we've gotten complete sunshine back to kick off this first work week of 2022, Jordan. We're still looking quiet outside from 7th and Rangeline. 15 was low this morning, a downright cold start. But nice to be back, not just near normal, but above freezing with highs in the mid-40s today. We're still sitting underneath clear skies. That's what we can expect as we go throughout the overnight hours. But we're still watching our next cold front, a Canadian cold front on the way. That's going to shake things up by the middle of the week. In the short term, though, it's cold enough already, but mainly lower to middle 30s right now. The breeze out there making it feel like the 20s across much of the region. Thankfully, the south wind will pick up overnight. That means we'll only drop back near 30, hold steady there during the overnight. But even with cloud cover coming in, that south wind, Jordan, cranks into gear tomorrow and pushes us back into the upper 40s for highs. But we got more cold air on the way, maybe another shot for snow to speak of as well. We'll break it all down here in a bit.
Nick Kelly, thank you. The Omicron variant, employer testing requirements, and a shortage of at-home COVID-19 test kits have left some people wondering where they can go to actually get a COVID-19 test. KOM's Chris Warner spoke with officials over at Freeman Health System, also with a group offering free COVID tests.
Getting a COVID test, let alone a free COVID test, is something that's not been easy lately. That's why the Seeds of Hope staffing agency out of Carthage decided to set up zero-cost drive-through testing sites.
It's really important because there's people that does not have insurance or anything, and we want to be able to have them be able to come down here and test and not worry, we're here to help the community.
They have locations in Wemp City, Carthage, Neosho, and this one in Joplin at 7th and Rangeline. They have plans to open additional locations in Miami, Lamar, Nevada, and Pittsburgh.
We have been busy. We had a site up in Carthage, and we still have that site. We've been up for 3 weeks over there, and it's getting really busy over there as well.
They're not the only busy testing site. Freeman Health System is still offering its drive-through COVID testing site, and Freeman's infection prevention manager, Jessica Liberty, says traffic is increasing.
The last couple of weeks, we've seen almost 100% increase in COVID testing. That's just for a wide range of reasons, not even necessarily the weekly COVID testing for non-compliant employees, but more symptomatic patients in the community that are sick.
Liberty says they've seen another increase outside of just COVID cases and testing.
We have definitely seen a huge increase in respiratory illnesses of all kinds, especially the last couple of weeks with everybody getting together for the holidays and sharing germs. And I really do anticipate continuing to see that. We have seen an increase in COVID cases, but we've also seen an increase in other illnesses as well.
We've got links to testing sites across the region over at KOAMNewsNow.com. In Joplin, Chris Warner, KOAM News.
Integris Health is asking people not to visit emergency departments to get tested for COVID. Officials say it can drain the department's resources that are desperately needed elsewhere. Integris provided a list of locations in Oklahoma where you can get tested if you think you might have COVID-19. That includes Integris Express Care in Miami and Grove, Indian Health Services, the Ottawa County Health Department, Walgreens, Express Wellness in Miami, and Bearskin Wellness Center in Wyandotte. FDA is expanding booster eligibility as the Omicron variant fuels a surge of COVID infections nationwide. The decision comes as students across the country return to the classroom. Fox News correspondent Jonathan Seary has more.
Health officials taking new steps to contain the Omicron variant. Today, the FDA authorized Pfizer's COVID booster shot for children as young as 12. The CDC could sign off on the expansion later this week. Federal regulators also said everyone who's currently eligible for a Pfizer booster can get one as early as 5 months after their last dose instead of the previous 6 months.
We're most interested in making sure that we prevent serious outcomes such as hospitalization and deaths, which, granted, though uncommon in 12 to 15-year-olds, can occur.
CDC data show about half of 12 to 15-year-olds are fully vaccinated against COVID-19. The option to now get a booster comes as pediatric hospitalizations rise, partly due to the Omicron variant. Doctors say most of the children they see are unvaccinated.
What we're seeing in the emergency room is a lot of croup-like illness, a lot of bronchiolitis type illness caused by this Omicron variant.
The recent surge in infections leading some schools to tweak their COVID protocols. Some 2,000 schools are closed or returning to remote learning after the holiday break. Health experts say testing and mitigation measures, including masks, should prevent long-term shutdowns.
You get a lot of public health damage by closing schools. You get mental health issues. You don't get screenings. Developmental delays are missed. You don't get immunizations.
The FDA has also authorized booster shots for immunocompromised children as young as 5 years old. In Atlanta, Jonathan Seri, Fox News.
Pittsburgh voters in a couple of weeks are going to decide on a school bond issue for renovations over at Pittsburgh Community Middle School. Officials say the renovations are going to cost an estimated $16.5 million, but will not increase the mill levies. If approved, the district is going to remodel classrooms, add a modern science laboratory, add an elevator for ADA compliance, also renovate the school's auditorium.
Anytime you can upgrade your school system and make positive moves for the community, I'm all for it.
Well, I'm all for it. I mean, that's where I went to high school, and so that building means a lot to me, and I think it's kind of a symbol of Pittsburgh, and I really hope that they refurbish it and keep it.
So I think it will add to the student growth, and I'm always for that. My daughter actually attends middle school, so I think that'd be a good thing for her.
Important to get balance. We did speak with another resident who was against the bond but didn't want to go on camera. He said he thought the district should just tear the middle school down, start over, rather than continue to fix issues with the current building. President Biden meeting virtually with farmers and ranchers today as Americans continue to struggle with higher food prices. Fox News correspondent Madeline Rivera is in D.C. with more on the administration's efforts to keep food prices down by helping meat and poultry producers stay afloat.
2022 is kicking off with inflation still top of mind for many Americans. Gas Buddy predicting the national average price of gasoline will climb early in the year.
We certainly could see that national average hit $4 a gallon at some time in a April to May timeframe.
A Fox Business poll in December shows 84% of Americans are worried about higher prices. On Monday, the president laid out several steps to fight inflation at the grocery store, blaming 4 large meatpacking industries for monopolizing the market and driving prices up.
Capitalism without competition isn't capitalism, it's exploitation. That's what we're seeing in meat and poultry and those industries now. Small, independent farmers and ranchers are being driven out of business.
Using $1 billion from the American Rescue Plan, the Biden administration says it intends to help independent meat and poultry producers, train workers, finance infrastructure, and provide loans and support to businesses. Despite the initiatives, one economist has a warning for the administration.
Inflation is very hard to stop once it gets going because you get a little consumer price index increase, then wages have to rise to match that, wholesale prices have to rise, and it becomes a system that feeds on itself.
The Justice Department and the U.S. Department of Agriculture also announced a new effort to better enforce competition laws, including a portal to report potential violations, which they aim to launch within 30 days. In Washington, Madeline Rivera, Fox News.
KOM News at 9 and Fox 14 takes this time now to honor another 4-state hero. Alfred Johnson served in the U.S. Army from 1941 to 45. Native of Farlington, Kansas, Johnson was stationed in Europe, earning several awards. We are proud to thank and salute Sergeant Alfred Johnson. He's tonight's 4-state hero. Nick Kelly's next with a complete look at the forecast. A bit later, the Columbus High School standout earning a chance to play in the Kansas Shrine Bowl. Jacob Leonard has that and more next.
The big
It was nice that we finally got the sun back, and it certainly was nice to see the returning sun get temperatures back to where they should be for this time of the year. Normally we should be in the mid 40s, give or take a degree or so for highs, but we did not do that for our first Sunday of 2022. We only managed to make it back into the mid 20s, but we saw that bump with the returning sun after our last storm system cleared out. Mid-teens this morning, and then we hit 45, 46 degrees at Joplin Regional. Everybody went into the mid 40s at least for today. And I'm thinking we've got a pretty good shot of going into the upper 40s, despite some cloud cover returning as we go into our Tuesday. However, another cold snap on the way with a Canadian front coming in on Wednesday, and then an upper level wave behind that could give us another shot for some snow, looking like Thursday morning is the primary time frame. We'll have more details on that in a moment. The 7th range line, we're quiet as can be, cold shore 32 degrees, with that south wind at 9 making it feel like 24 degrees outside. Everybody's pretty much in the same boat. Lower to mid 30s across much of the region, maybe a couple upper 20s near Stockton Lake. But you factor in that breeze, it all feels like we're either in the 20s to near 30 just for the effect against your skin. Again, it's all because of that south wind. It was light during the day at about 5 to 10 miles per hour, but we're starting to see the south wind pick up, especially out in central and western parts of Kansas. That, even though we'll have clear skies for tonight, which is what we've been seeing all day long, that's going to mean temperatures won't drop off very much while we wait for our next cold front to the north. That's a Canadian front on the way in. That won't get here until Wednesday. Then we got to focus on this upper low in the Gulf of Alaska. That ultimately will send an upper level wave our way. That is what's going to eventually bring a shot for snow for some of you as we go into Thursday. But in the short term, you saw how there was a lot of nothing to the west. That's our weather. Even though some cloud cover sneaks in for Tuesday morning with most of us right around 30, that cloud cover passing through will not stop that south wind from really allowing us to warm back up. Some of you close to 50, but for most of you, we'll start near 30 in the morning, 44 by noon. Highs back to 48 degrees. That's going to feel nice compared to how cold it's been for the past few days. Cloud cover will continue to come and go, but will stay dry Tuesday night and even going into Wednesday. But you can see how that northerly wind kicks in. That's the wind behind the cold front. That will drop us back into the middle to upper 30s for definitely a cold return to things on Wednesday. So not only will the cold front drop us back into the 30s for Wednesday, so will the jet stream sinking back to the south. Then that quick wave developing will try to give us some snow, mainly Thursday morning, and before we dry things out by Thursday afternoon. We're looking quiet for Friday, and then we'll see if another system can give us some rain chances by Saturday. But 48 tomorrow. 37 Wednesday, 23 is the best we could do with that upper wave passing through with, again, some rain, make that rain. How about snow showers possible during the morning hours? But you can see how first impressions show not looking at big accumulations. Most of us staying less than an inch in terms of totals. Still plenty of time to watch it though. Doug and I will do just that over the next few days. Then 40 on Friday, 50s on Saturday, and back into the 30s Sunday, Jordan.
We'll just have to go with it, right, Nick Kelly?
Yes, we will.
Speaking of going with it, rolling with what Mother Nature throws.
After temperatures in the 60s on Sunday, D.C. woke up to a winter wonderland. So much snow, federal offices closed. I'm Caroline Shively in Washington. I'll have details coming up.
Low prices.
A mid-Atlantic snowstorm extended the winter holiday for millions of school kids up and down the East Coast. It's also bringing those some treacherous conditions, leaving hundreds of thousands of people without power amid plunging temperatures. Fox News correspondent Caroline Shively reports from Washington.
Heavy snow in the D.C. region is not uncommon, but coming less than 24 hours after the thermometer hit the upper 60s, it's a shocker.
It's a little bit of madness to wake up this morning with snow on the ground.
Local governments say they're ready.
It's been quite some time since we've had a substantial snow, but as I've stated before, we prepare for it year-round.
The word from officials in affected cities up and down the East Coast?
I can't emphasize enough how important it is for people to get off the street.
Even the president felt it. Here he is leaving Delaware this morning for D.C. in light snow. And here he is arriving in a storm so strong that his helicopter was grounded and his motorcade had to drive to the White House from Joint Base Andrews. In fact, all federal offices in the Washington, D.C. area closed on Monday, except for emergency personnel. Winter break was extended for thousands of school children, with superintendents canceling the first day back, a relief for some as they fretted over rising COVID cases. Many businesses also telling employees to telework.
A lot of people are working from home if possible, my husband being one of them.
For those staying home, hundreds of thousands did so with no electricity as the snow and high winds knocked out power lines. More trouble on Tuesday, with lows in parts of the mid-Atlantic predicted to be in the teens. In Washington, Caroline Shively, Fox News.
All right, next, a monumental disaster to begin this new year.
How Coloradans are stepping up to help their neighbors in the aftermath of the worst fire in the state's history. I'm Alicia Acuna in Louisville, Colorado. I'll have the details coming up.
2 people still missing in Colorado, now feared dead after fires destroyed hundreds of homes last week in the Denver burbs. Those who lost everything in the fire, of course, now face a long road to recovery. Fox News senior correspondent Alicia Acuna has the latest now from Louisville, Colorado.
In the days after the most destructive fire in Colorado's history, residents are returning to what's left of their homes to see what, if anything, can be salvaged.
This is my hot tub right here. This is the frame of it, the decking, and just down to nothing. It's just mind-boggling.
It was friendly and warm and decorated, and families and community, and I don't even know how to describe it. It's like a war zone.
Strong winds caused the grass fire to quickly grow out of control, burning more than 9 square miles and nearly 1,000 homes in the span of just a few hours.
Gusts of 110 miles an hour can and have moved this fire down a football field in a matter of seconds. Very little time to get out.
FEMA opened an assistance center Monday in Boulder County to help people in need. Churches and community groups are also stepping in to raise donations for their fellow Coloradans. They say cash and gift cards are most useful.
They need help immediately with clothes, they need help with food, they need help with meals.
Amazingly, there was no damage to schools in the burn zone, and so classes resume Monday. Counselors are focusing on taking care of the potentially hundreds of students left homeless by the fire.
This person can be sort of the conduit to say, okay, we hear what your needs are. Let me see if I can find somebody to help you with that.
The cause of the fire is still unknown, but the Boulder County Sheriff says they believe they have narrowed it down to an area where they believe it was started. In Louisville, Colorado, Alicia Acuna, Fox News.
All right, coming up, going to check out some footprints, dinosaurs' footprints, that is, according to scientists. Listen. A dinosaur left footprints on a Welsh beach. Doesn't that seem like the beginning of a joke I'm about to tell you? So this dinosaur left footprints on a Welsh beach. Only this is a true story, and scientists say the footprints are still there. Scientists in the UK found the tracks in 2020. You know, the 2020 that was just a few days ago. London's Natural History Museum says they date back to the Triassic period and are thought to be made by a sauropod or one of its relatives. Using these footprints, scientists can determine how this dinosaur exactly walked. The museum says the tracks are going to remain on the beach until, of course, they are worn away by the tide. Interesting way to look back in time, right? 30 more minutes, news, weather, and sports coming away. There's a new ordinance in Joplin covering short-term rentals like Airbnb. Also, going to check out a special museum exhibit honoring the humble apron and the equally humble people behind those aprons.
Pivoting.
Joplin City Council tonight approved an ordinance to require a permit to offer short-term rentals, things like an Airbnb. The ordinance requires anyone looking to operate a short-term rental to get a permit through the city, specifically a business license. Officials say there are an estimated 70 to 100 short-term rentals currently being offered in Joplin, and according to officials, the city has received complaints about several of them.
In some of the initial cases we had this year that did make it to council that were a little contentious, there were some comments on both sides, both for and against short-term rentals, for us maybe look at our code and rework some things. And we heard that feedback, and so that's also one of the things that made us decide to go this route in regulating them.
Council also approved on first reading a rezoning request to turn the old KODE television building into a storage facility. Also, Council approved on first reading a change to extend alcohol sales from 6 a.m. to 1:30 a.m. on Sundays, matching the rest of the week, also the state norm. Former President Donald Trump has endorsed Kansas Attorney General Derek Schmidt to be the state's next governor. The endorsement came in a statement through Trump's Save America Political Action Committee. Schmidt has served as Attorney General for 3 terms. After the 2020 presidential election, he brought Kansas into an unsuccessful lawsuit seeking to overturn the results in battleground states over claims of voter fraud. Well, a woman in Miami thought she had lost $200 for good after losing her wallet, but another resident stepped up to help. Here's how it went down. Last Thursday, Kaya Greenfeather lost her wallet in the parking lot of the Miami Walmart. Her wallet was later returned, but the $200 that were inside had been taken. Well, Greenfeather posted about what happened on Facebook, so an area businessman, Ben Fry, reached out, sent Greenfeather $200 to cover the whole loss.
I made another post to update everybody that it was found, but sadly, the money was missing. And everybody was upset, of course.
Everybody dreads the first of the month. I just felt like I wanted to make her year better, because that's just like a horrible way to start the year. So it could be a good pick-me-up, just trying to help somebody out.
It's a good heart, Ben. Greenfeather says everything else in her wallet was still there when it was returned. Chances are most of us don't think of aprons. At least not that much, right? Until we need one. Keeping whatever mess off our clothes, right? But there's a new exhibit showcasing aprons. The Miners Hall Museum in Franklin, Kansas has aprons from different eras, from the early 1900s to the recent day. All aprons donated from local people.
It kind of gets people thinking about, when you really think about it, there are a lot of industries that use the apron, and it's not just grandma that's always behind the apron.
The Behind the Apron exhibit runs until March 27th. Cool stuff right there. Well, this year, Christmas shoppers did shop till they drop, and a survey tells how much cash they dropped down. A Lending Tree survey says this Christmas, Americans were willing to spend more than they can afford. 36% of Americans used debts to do it, to the tune of $1,249 on average. Most used credit cards, and nearly 40% did buy now, pay later financing. At holidays end, Americans will have $70 billion more in credit card debt, and 82% with holiday debt won't pay it off within a month. That's also according to this survey. Thousands of flights were delayed or canceled today as flight disruptions from this Christmas holiday carried over into the new year. Fox News senior national correspondent Rich Edson has more from Reagan National Airport.
It's nerve-wracking, especially when you're traveling with your family and small kids and stuff.
Thousands of travelers just like him and across the country are spending the first days of 2022 in airports. Flight delays and cancellations have stretched into another week. Airlines canceled more than 5,000 over the weekend, more than 4,000 more Monday, as airlines confront staffing shortages because of COVID infections and a major winter storm hitting the East Coast, just a week after much of the West was blanketed with snow.
It absolutely has been a huge inconvenience.
Passengers report confusion and disorganization at major airports across the country. Many have complained about poor communication from airlines, with long waits to speak to representatives in person or on the phone, and other customer service options virtually non-existent.
We were on the phone with customer service and on the internet trying to find different flights, and the checkout screen wasn't working.
Some carriers are now offering big pay boosts to keep flights on schedule. Spirit Airlines is giving flight attendants twice their usual salary, and United is offering pilots triple overtime pay through the end of the month. Health officials warn the fast spread of Omicron may take a long time to resolve.
It's so contagious, it's going to make its rounds, and we just need to do the best we can to minimize its impact.
The TSA says it screened more than 2 million passengers Sunday. That's up 66% from the same time last year. At Reagan National Airport, Rich Edson, Fox News.
A little bit later, rescuing pets fighting for their lives.
Recovery efforts are underway following Colorado's massive wildfire. I'm Jackie Ibanez with more on the search for dozens of missing pets lost during the blaze. That's straight ahead.
we kept things finally quiet and a lot brighter for today, and that certainly made an impact on our temperatures after a cold Sunday, our first Sunday of 2022. We can only muster highs back into the mid-20s the other day, but after we started in the mid-teens this morning, not much of a big drop-off in temperatures, but boy, did we jump up quite a bit. We had mid-40s topping the readings at Joplin Regional when we actually hit the official high of 46. That's right around our average high of 45 degrees for this time of the year. Even though we dropped the normal down to 44 tomorrow, we're going to actually bump the thermostat up a little tomorrow with highs in the upper 40s. That's going to be a short-lived thaw before we see our next cold front on the way in by Wednesday. In the short term, though, 7th and range line, quiet skies up top, but cold nonetheless. 32 degrees with the south wind at 9. Relatively light, but it is making it feel like 24 degrees if you're running any late errands outside this evening. It's much of the same across the entire region. Lower to middle 30s across much of the area at the 9 o'clock hour. But you factor in the breeze, it does feel like the 20s for the effect against your skin. And again, it's all because of that south wind. It was light during the day at about 5 to 10 miles per hour in most spots. But look at how the wind speeds are picking up across central and even western parts of Kansas. That's in advance of our next frontal boundary on the way in. So we'll show you where all that is as we start breaking down the surface map. First off, nothing going on here. Good indication we're going to stay quiet for the rest of the night. As these areas of high pressure depart and continue to work over the Appalachian Mountain Range, that's going to keep the southerly wind in play. And with this advancing front to the north, that's going to actually accelerate that south wind for tomorrow to push us into the upper 40s. Then down the road, we're going to watch for this upper level low to send some energy our way. That could bring another shot for some snow for some of you by the time Thursday rolls around. In the short term, though, looking good to start the late night out with mostly clear skies. But then as we go into tomorrow morning, some cloud cover out west will build and roll on through. There will be times where we'll bounce back and forth between partly sunny and mostly cloudy skies, but we are dry once again as we go into Tuesday. But even with the return of some cloud cover tomorrow, once that south wind kicks into gear, we're going to waste no time going from 30 in the morning, 44 by noon, and pushing afternoon highs around 48 degrees. We'll keep the cloud cover coming and going throughout the course of Tuesday night and Wednesday morning, but notice that north breeze kicking in. That's the cold front rolling through. That will send us into the upper 20s for morning lows on Wednesday and afternoon temperatures only in the mid to upper 30s. But that's setting the stage for Thursday's wave rather to roll on in. Again, the cold front comes in first, make sure it's cold at the surface and upstairs before we see this quick wave come out of the northern plains. That's going to give us a quick shot for some snow, mainly during Thursday morning. And it certainly will be cold for Thursday as well with that wave, only keeping us near 23 degrees. As far as snow amounts with Thursday's wave, an early look at things, showing not impressive amounts, minor but not impressive. Most of us less than an inch, but something we'll still watch over the next few days. 48 tomorrow though, 37 Wednesday. We'll be back near 40 though by Friday and 50s on Saturday, Jordan.
Keep that jacket on standby.
Absolutely.
Hey, Kelly, thank you. Coming up in sports, Columbus High School standout football player selected to play in the 2022 Kansas Shrine Bowl. Also, Pitt State hitting the road to face Northwest Missouri. Jacob Leonard has that and more next.
Pittsburgh State men opened 2022 with an 8-point win over Missouri Western on Saturday. And Bobby Arthur Williams provided a big-time spark in his first game back from injury, posting 24 points and 10 rebounds. Arthur Williams and the Gorillas back in action tonight with a tough one on the road against second-ranked Northwest Missouri State. This was just a 2-point game at halftime, but Northwest does go on to win 74-64. Tyler Hawkins and Quentin Hardrick each scored 10 for the Gorillas. As for the women's game, Pitt State trying to bounce back from Saturday's loss to Missouri Western. The first play of the game, Sydney Crane drives in, bucket and the foul. Good start for the Gorillas. Then Tristan Gegg heats up. She actually hits 3 threes in a row. Gegg 19 points in the first half alone. Gorillas go up 4, but the Bearcats would fight back. Clock winding down in the first. Kaylee Keston, corner 3. Northwest up 1 at half. And they would hold on. Bearcats top PSU tonight 66-62. The Missouri Southern Lions are also in action tonight on the road against Missouri Western. Now the men's game was postponed due to COVID issues in the Southern program. For the women though, the show goes on tonight. Lions aim for their first win in 2022. First quarter, Lacey Stokes out to Haley Grant for 3. Later in the frame, Cameron. Call goes to work down low, hits it falling away. Western, though, up 5 after the first. Now the Lions stay hot from deep in the second. Call from the left wing this time. Then Brooke Stauffer out to Lacey Stokes. Lacey Stokes gets 19. Maddie Stokes scores 21, but the Griffins finish this one off 74-65. Well, 6 local players have been picked to play in the Kansas Shrine Bowl this summer. That includes Columbus standout Cody Shock. Shock is an all-conference, all-district, and all-state player for the Titans on the defensive line. He finished his senior year with 63 tackles, 13 tackles for loss, and 4 sacks. He also forced 2 fumbles. Shock is committed to play at Pittsburgh State next season, so when he plays in the Shrine Bowl this summer, he'll actually get a chance to play on his future home field.
I think, yeah, it's going to be really awesome getting to go play there and get like kind of a feel of what it's like to be on the field with everyone there. So I think it's going to be pretty awesome. I'm extremely blessed. Not many people get to do this, and it's for a great cause, and I'm really happy I got picked. I'm extremely blessed, and thankful for all the coaches for helping me get there.
5 other local players will play in the Shrine Bowl this summer. You can check out that on the sports page at KOAMNewsNow.com. The Kansas City Chiefs snapped an 8-game winning streak on Sunday, falling to the Cincinnati Bengals. The Chiefs are now 11-5 overall, with just 1 game to go in the regular season. Yesterday, Kansas City was up 28-17 at halftime, but Cincinnati outscored them 17-3 in the second half to win the game. A couple things went wrong for Kansas City. Had a bunch of penalties, and that guy was a problem. Rookie wideout Jamar Chase for Cincinnati had a monster day. 11 catches, 266 yards, and 3 touchdowns.
We've had too many big plays on the defensive side. Obviously, Chase had a big day today. Between the big plays and the penalties, that's what got us. And there were way too many penalties, 9 penalties. I'd like to comment on each one, but I don't want to be fined.
So here's a look at the AFC Playoff Picture. The Chiefs currently the number 2 seed in the AFC playoffs. They have the same record as Tennessee, but the Titans own the tiebreaker because they beat Kansas City head-to-head. So to get home field through the playoffs, the Chiefs need to beat the Broncos next week and have the Titans lose to the Texans. Every team listed here is still in play for the number 1 seed, but if the Titans win next week, it's over. They will be the number 1 seed, have a first-round bye, have home field advantage throughout the AFC playoffs. And that's a look at sports. We're back with more news after this.
A lot of numbers get reported in the aftermath of a natural disaster. Things like the number of homes destroyed, the number of acres damaged, the amount of rain or snow that fell. But what about the number of pets that went missing? I mean, yeah, they're not human, but they're part of the family too, right? Fox News correspondent Jackie Bonias has more on the search efforts to look at the dozens of pets lost during the most destructive wildfire in Colorado state history.
These are people's beloved family members, and they just need to be reunited with their families.
For pet owners, their animals are more than just furry friends, they're family. But when natural disasters strike, those family members can wind up being lost or left behind in the chaos.
I can't imagine the devastation of losing one's home, much less a member of one's family.
That's exactly the case in Boulder County, Colorado, where at least 67 pets have been reported missing in the wake of the Marshall Fire.
Kitty! Kitty!
Volunteers spent the weekend combing through neighborhoods impacted by the blaze, searching for those missing animals. After the fire destroyed close to 1,000 homes as of Thursday.
Toss them some treats, and then maybe they can come back to you.
Tom Holmquist helped organize the mission.
Was thinking what would happen if I wasn't home and my dog was home. Freaked me out a little bit, and I'm a dog lover, so decided to put this on Facebook on the the Boulder Fire Lost and Found Pets, and I don't know, kind of exploded.
And for fellow animal lovers, lending a hand was a no-brainer.
I saw that my animals were okay, and I thought, well, I owe it to them to go try to help somebody else, help another animal.
But this weekend's blizzard dumped roughly 10 inches of snow across the disaster zone, complicating search efforts. Still, no one is giving up hope. Meanwhile, the Humane Society says if it's not safe for you, it's not safe for your pets. The organization recommends always having an emergency plan and kit prepared for your pets in case of a natural disaster. Jackie Ibanez, Fox News.
Peek at the entertainment coming your way right here on Fox 14 next. It's a week of series returns and new series premieres. Kick off the new year right here on Fox TV. Here's Fox's Ashley Dvorkin.
New seasons and new shows. Here's what's hot on Fox.
This is Captain Owen Strand requesting emergency assistance.
Monday starts with the season 3 premiere of 911 Lone Star, where an Arctic cold front brings an ice storm to Austin.
I'm just a cleaning lady. I can help you make this disappear.
Then it's the premiere of The Cleaning Lady with Elodie Young as a Cambodian doctor fighting to make ends meet in the U.S. to save her ailing son, when she witnesses a murder and turns cleaning the crime scene to save her life into a double life.
This is going to be awesome.
Tuesday is a foodie-filled adventure with Gordon Ramsay's road trip Greek Vacation. Wednesday is the season 2 debut of I Can See Your Voice, with special guest panelists helping contestants determine good from bad singers without hearing a note.
We're not just going to give out $250,000. You've got to earn it.
That's followed by Next Level Chef in its regular time slot. Chef Gordon Ramsay, Nyesha Arrington, and Richard Blais task newly selected teams with making the ultimate steak dinner.
The ladies do not know who is rich and who is not.
Thursday, it's a 2-hour premiere of dating series Joe Millionaire for Richer or Poorer, with 2 single men keeping the secret of which is the millionaire in their search for love. Friday brings WWE Friday Night SmackDown. And Sunday, there's a first look at Call Me Kat Season 2 and the new comedy Pivoting. In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
I was trying to do a good Gordon Ramsay impersonation. These guys weren't impressed. You call that food? You call that food? I'll get it right. That's our time for tonight. Thanks so much for joining us. Going to leave you with video of some pandas rolling around in the snow at the Smithsonian National Zoo. Having fun. Be safe. Do this all again tomorrow. See you then.